He planned the perfect family vacation, then found out they went without him. Tired of being the wallet and afterthought, he shut everything down: Netflix, accounts, even the emergency fund. What happened next exposed the family's cruel truth and led him to build a new kind of peace. My name is Nathan Carter. I'm 32 years old. Until recently, I was what people call the glue of the family, the organizer, the peacemaker, the wallet. Every year, I planned our family vacation down to the last detail. I'd scout for the best rental, make the grocery list, book the house, and send everyone the itinerary weeks in advance. It wasn't just about the trip, it was my way of keeping the family together, of holding on to the little flickers of connection that dimmed the rest of the year through short replies or ignored group chats. But this year, everything changed. It started with small things. I missed reply, a vague "we'll see" from my brother Tyler when I sent out the proposed dates. My mom wasn't sure she could make it. My sister, Lacey, only reacted to my message with a heart no actual response. Still, I stayed hopeful. Once they saw the house I found: 3 bedrooms, oceanfront, a fully stocked kitchen, a deck overlooking the waves. I thought they'd come around. I arrived early on Friday morning, picked up groceries tailored to everyone's preferences: Tyler's keto snacks, Lacey's gluten-free bread, my mom's almond milk, and everyone's favorite wines. I sent a photo to the family group chat. We're all set. Can't wait to see everyone. No response. An hour passed, too. Then, as I was unpacking the last grocery bag, my phone buzzed. Tyler had posted on Facebook a photo of a cozy-looking cabin in the woods. Everyone was there: Mom, Dad, Lacey, even Lacey's new boyfriend, whom I barely knew. They all smiled in flannel shirts beneath the caption, "Family Weekend." So lucky to spend it with the people who matter most. My phone slipped from my hand onto the counter. I stood frozen, that kind of quiet that realization felt louder than any noise. I was standing in a house fully stocked for guests who would never come. No warning, no change of plans. No, "Hey, we're doing something different this year." They had simply cut me out. And it wasn't the first time. 2 years ago, they forgot to tell me about a last-minute Thanksgiving dinner. They always seemed to schedule game nights on the weekends I had to work or travel, and when I'd ask, they'd brush it off. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing. "We didn't think you'd be available." I told myself they were just disorganized, that it wasn't intentional. But how many times can you believe that before the truth breaks through? That night, I sat on the deck, looking out at the ocean. The house was quiet. My phone remained dark. I wasn't exactly sad. I was numb and exhausted. Tired of being the one who always tried, the one who paid, the one who made it easy for them to treat me like an afterthought, the guy who funded Christmas gifts, the one who covered the Airbnb last year when no one else could, the one whose Netflix account had 5 profiles, none of them mine. And in that moment, I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I made a decision. The next morning, I brewed a pot of coffee, poured myself a cup, and sat at the kitchen table. I opened my laptop and typed up a receipt. Calm, professional. Every cost itemized: the house rental, the groceries, the supplies, even the welcome basket I'd prepared with local soaps and snacks. I attached it to a group email. Subject line: this year's trip, cost recap. No message. Just the total and a polite note asking them to Venmo me by the end of the week. Then, I picked up my phone. Netflix, logged out of all devices, changed password. Disney Plus, removed all profiles, changed email. Spotify family plan canceled. Amazon Prime, removed all household members. Apple Pay, disconnected my card from everyone's accounts. Even the emergency credit card I'd given my mom, just in case, was gone. Finally, I logged into the family emergency fund, a savings account I had been the main contributor to for 6 years. Tyler had used it for car repairs, Lacey for rent when her internship fell through. I moved every cent into a new high-yield savings account in my name. On the old account dashboard, I left a single sticky note: please contact the new account holder directly for access. Love, the guy who wasn't invited. By noon, The calls and texts started. Hey, can we talk, Mom? Why can't I log into Disney? Plus, Lacey. 3 missed calls from Tyler. No voicemails. Just hang-ups. I didn't answer. Not yet. For once, I wasn't trying to fix things. I wasn't smoothing things over. I wasn't making it easy for them to pretend nothing had happened. I let the silence speak, and that's when I heard the knock at the door. When I opened the door, I expected to see maybe Tyler or Lacey, someone with an awkward smile and an excuse. But it was my mom. She stood there, arms folded awkwardly, like she wasn't sure whether to knock again. Her face wasn't exactly guilty. Not yet. It was the kind of look people have when they expect you to apologize first. Like you're the one being dramatic. I leaned against the doorframe, coffee mug in hand. I didn't invite her in. Hey, Nathan. Her voice was soft, almost unfamiliar. Mind if I come in? I raised an eyebrow but stayed silent, sipping the cold coffee. We didn't think you'd actually come up this year, she started, after last year. We figured you might not want to plan the trip again, so that was going to be the excuse. I sent the schedule 3 weeks ago. You all heart reacted. No one said anything about changing the plan. She looked down at her shoes. Well, Tyler found that cabin. Everyone liked the idea. We just kind of went with it. I thought he told you. I let out a single, sharp laugh. So now it's Tyler's fault. She flushed. I'm not here to argue. But people are upset. You locked the accounts. Tyler's panicking. Lacey can't log into anything. And your dad tried ordering his meds, but the Amazon account. I held up a hand. I didn't take anything. I moved my money. I shut down my subscriptions. And if the emergency fund is so critical, maybe someone else should have been contributing to it once in a while. That's not fair, she whispered. No, I said, my voice rising. What's not fair is me spending thousands every year for people who treat me like the help. What's not fair is being left out of a family weekend and finding out through Facebook. What's not fair is being expected to fund everything and smile through it. She chewed her lip, searching for the magic sentence that would fix this. But there wasn't one. Tyler didn't mean to exclude you. Then he shouldn't have. Silence stretched between us. What do you want, Nathan? And for the first time in years, I knew. I want to not be the afterthought. I want someone else to pick up the slack. I want you to notice when I'm not there instead of conveniently forgetting. I want a family that doesn't just use me when it's convenient. She opened her mouth to object but stopped. I took a step back and gently closed the door. She didn't knock again. That night, I walked the beach alone. My thoughts were tangled: regret, relief, sadness, and a strange, new feeling, freedom. Part of me wished they would all show up the next day with heartfelt apologies. But a stronger part of me hoped they wouldn't come at all. The next morning, my phone buzzed nonstop. Calls from Tyler, then Lacey, then my mom. I ignored them all. Then an unknown number lit up my screen. Hello, Nathan, it's Caleb, my cousin Caleb. I hadn't spoken to him in nearly 2 years. I saw the Facebook post, the cabin. I'm guessing you weren't invited either. Nope, same. I offered to host the family trip months ago. Your mom told me they weren't sure there'd even be a trip. I sank into a chair. So, you were told there might not be a trip. Meanwhile, they planned a whole weekend without either of us. Exactly. His voice was dry. They're not forgetful. They're excluding people on purpose. I swallowed hard. I thought I did something wrong. You didn't. Caleb's voice was steady. You just stopped being easy to control. That landed harder than I expected. I thought about all the quiet sacrifices I'd made. All the times I'd said yes when I wanted to say no. After I saw the post, I said slowly, I shut everything down. The accounts, the subscriptions, the emergency fund. Good. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because I finally realized how little they valued me when I wasn't footing the bill. You don't owe me an explanation. There was a pause. They've been shrinking the circle for a while. Nathan, me, you, even Aunt Marie. They didn't invite her to Thanksgiving last year. Told her they assumed she'd be too tired. I clenched my jaw. Well, they forgot something important. What's that? I own the boat, Caleb chuckled. You still got that beach house until Sunday. Yeah, good. I'm 2 hours away. Mind some company. Absolutely. 2 hours later, Caleb pulled up with a cooler of drinks and a stack of old board games. For the first time all weekend, I wasn't alone. We sat on the deck, watching the sun bleed into the ocean. The silence between us was comfortable, the kind that speaks louder than words. That night, something new appeared in the family group chat. A screenshot from Lacey. So, he told Caleb and Nathan they weren't invited. Underneath, a single reply from my dad. Wasn't my call. I stared at the message. 3 dots bounced under Lacey's name as she typed. Seriously, this isn't okay. Did anyone even think to tell them? Silence. Then, finally, my mom replied. We didn't want drama. Things have been tense with Nathan. And Caleb made it clear he didn't want to be part of things anymore. Caleb read over my shoulder. Classic. Vague shades so everyone just nods along. But Lacey surprised me. Tense. You mean when Nathan paid for everything last year and you didn't even say thank you? When he bought the gifts, covered the Airbnb, set up the schedules, and you all mocked him for being too organized. Then came the message I didn't expect. My dad replied. Let's not act like this wasn't planned. We excluded Nathan and Caleb. It was a group decision. Don't rewrite it now. I felt Caleb stiffen beside me. He just owned it, Caleb said, voice cold. Yeah. So what now? For once, I had an answer. We stopped chasing people who decided we don't belong. That night, as the tide whispered against the shore, I typed out the message that would close a chapter forever. Thanks for the clarity. I'm glad to know where I stand. For years, I've supported all of you financially, emotionally, practically. But this past weekend made something very clear. None of that was ever about family to you. It was about convenience. You took from me because I let you. That ends now. I paused, then added, I won't be attending any more family events. If you ever want to talk, really talk, you know how to find me. Until then, don't. I hit send. Caleb gave me a small nod. That wasn't easy. No, I said, but it was necessary. Feels like we should toast or something. To what? Exile. To freedom, he said, raising his bottle. We clinked our drinks, and for once, I didn't feel bitter. I felt calm, whole. The following days were quiet. Caleb stayed for 2 more nights. Before heading home, he left behind a stack of old board games we used to play as kids. I spent my mornings walking along the beach, letting the wind clear out years of exhaustion. Years spent chasing scraps of appreciation from people who never intended to give more. Lacey called once. I didn't pick up. She left a voicemail. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how deep the cuts had gone. I went along with it because it was easier than arguing. I was wrong. I appreciated the honesty, but I didn't call back. At some point, even apologies can't rebuild what's been torn down by 1,000 small cuts and one final, deliberate betrayal. By the end of the week, I met with my banker. I officially closed the old joint family account. Moved every dollar into a new umbrella account mine. I canceled my spot on the family phone plan. Got a new number. Recut my locks, not out of spite, out of peace. Because cutting people off isn't always about anger. Sometimes it's survival. Sometimes it's the quiet act of no longer twisting yourself into a shape that makes them comfortable. It's choosing yourself. That Christmas, I stayed home. Cooked a meal just for me. Opened a book I hadn't touched in years. Watched snow fall outside my window. And in the silence, I didn't feel lonely. I felt whole. That night, I posted a photo on social media. A simple dinner, my fireplace glowing, my dog curled at my feet. The caption read, Merry Christmas from someone who finally chose peace. It got more likes than any family photo I'd ever been tagged in. A few months later, something unexpected arrived in my mailbox, a wedding invitation. Not from Tyler, not from Lacey, not from Mom or Dad, from Emily, Aunt Marie's oldest daughter. Someone who had been quietly watching everything unfold. Her note was handwritten. You've always made the effort. I see that now. I'd be honored if you came. And that was the start of something new. That spring, I found myself sitting at Caleb's kitchen table. Emily was there with her new fiancé. Aunt Marie brought her famous apple pie. No one asked who paid for what. No one demanded anything. We just talked. We laughed. We listened. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like a background character in someone else's story. I felt like I belonged, not because I had bought my seat at the table, because I had finally built a table of my own. And this time, only those who saw my worth without needing a receipt were welcome to sit down. So to anyone reading this, who has felt like the glue that everyone takes for granted, let me tell you, your worth isn't measured by what you give or how much you tolerate. It's measured by how bravely you choose yourself. And if that means building a new table, then build it, the right people.